An immortal was supposed to reincarnate into power, but some stupid snake hit Steel Respawn like it was a Steam DLC. Now the snake's rocking divine memories, Minecraft enchanted golden scales, and superpowers out of this world. Only catch, he's terrified of literally everything except kaiju-sized murder machines, which he accidentally keeps sending to the Shadow Realm like it's Tuesday. The sun is setting below the horizon as the people rush in chaos and fear of the dark. It's not like there's a Bujiman out there hunting them down, but rather a fearsome black snake that always comes out after sunset. The townspeople are terrified after hearing the news of the black snake devouring 2 people at the mountain god's temple, with one of those people even boasting the ranks of a Taoist. Now, while they haven't heard of it devouring anyone in the past few days, there are rumors that the snake has been eating chickens and ducks close by. Worried, the children even suggest bringing the damn chickens inside to protect them from the horrifying monstrosity. The atmosphere stoops anew low, it's cold, and the people fail to comprehend why. Hidden in a house are 2 gold eyes. The black snake heard everything amidst the chaos, and is pissed off that these dumbest people are calling him an old fart. Bro doesn't even think he's scary, and keep in mind, he's saying this while tightening his grip around a human. As for the mentioned people that disappeared 2 days ago, the black snake is indeed responsible for devouring them. Actually, let's go back and see what happened to them. A man came rushing to beg for the mountain god's help. Apparently, he had devoured a bunch of human pellets, which are extraordinarily important for human cultivators to boost their strength. Pleading and begging before the mountain god, the man cries and seeks ultimate mercy. At the time, the snake didn't know what this guy was talking about because Duolingo didn't exist for him to understand the human language. So doing his best, the benevolent snake decided to chuck the guy into his mouth, hoping to soothe his suffering. Shortly after he ate this guy, another dude came rushing in. This guy was pissed off because the black snake had just eaten an important cultivator who was being trained under this old dude for a decade. Seeing him in so much disappointment and pain, our adorable little snake decided to eat him too. Within his belly, the 2 humans could finally enjoy a happy reunion. At the time, the black snake had no idea that swallowing these 2 people would play a huge role later down. You see, the little snake ended up being blessed with enlightenment from Albert Einstein himself. This was the turning point from where it came to learn about countless things that were beyond the scope of its knowledge before. Reflecting on the past, the snake realized that the hunters chasing him were actually dubbed the snake catchers. Points for originality there, 10 out of 10. Hailing from the snake-catching sect, these third-rate ninjas are cultivators extremely capable. The black snake vividly remembers them being able to take down an enormous python, highlighting the tremendous skill of the cultivators. Well, cultivators in general are a special case. They train their strength, refine their chi, solidify their foundation, and even work on their core. Finally, there's the all-powerful mass and soul stage representing peak strength above all. The tiny snake's previous escape attempts were largely thanks to luck, even though it was scared as shit every time. He knows that humans are the most frightening creatures of all, and then there's the cultivators who are even more terrifying than the rest. With its newfound intelligence boost and big brain skills, the black snake is fully intent on surviving to the best of its ability. Fearing that he will be caught by the humans if he hunts them down, the black snake decides to set his sights on devouring some poultry animals. His gaping stomach is killing his mood, and he's ultimately disappointed to admit that chickens don't fill up his belly as much as humans do. Suddenly, he recalls important details. The adventurous snake remembers that there's one particular family raising pigs in Chenjia town, so he sets his sights to go there. Before leaving, the snake catches a glimpse of a wall portrait. Ever since it gained the ability to think for itself, he realized that humans are fond of naming things. Admiring the story of Xu Xian and merging his moniker of the old black snake, the creature finalizes his new name as Xu He. The night is young and the humans are nowhere to be found. Setting his sights on his target, Xu He arrives at the poultry farm and targets the pigs. Towering over the barricades, he observes his sleeping prey. Just looking at their fleshy bits makes it salivate to devour them already. Sharply scanning its environment, Xu He realizes that no humans are nearby. Instantly, he jumps and devours one of the fat pigs just like me, stealing that last slice of pizza. His destructive pounce leaves the rest of the pigs scattered in fear, oinking away and making a ton of noise. Fearing that his noisy prey will wake up the humans, and irritated, Xu He clenches another one of the pigs in its mouth, promising to devour another one. With a bunch of pigs now resting in Xu He's belly, the little bro is happier than ever and doesn't want to move an inch. Bloated and deprived of energy, the gigantic snake decides to take a short nap to digest the food, knowing that there were plenty of hours until dawn. 1 hour later, a new problem arises for the black snake. Human sounds can be heard arguing in the distance, while Xu He wonders what's going on while being half asleep. Turns out that a bunch of bastards decided to beat up a man named Chen Fan to death. They're planning to drop his body by entering the barricades and hoping the pigs will do the rest. Fearing for his life, the snake quickly rattles and swirls up to the roof. Observing the scene from above, Shuhei is terrified for his life and hopes that the humans fail to discover him. The two men who've just killed the innocent guy are proud enough to leave his corpse in the pigsty unattended. The moment they exit the barricade is when our noodle boy decides to come around and take a look. He sees the corpse bloodied up and bruised on the ground, which definitely isn't a good sign for Shuhei. But there's more. Suddenly, the corpse pops open its eyes like it were a zombie, scaring the crap out of our little noodle boy. Coughing blood, the man recovers himself, and instead of fearing for his current state, this guy is celebrating like a maniac. Turns out that an immortal being has been reincarnated into Chen Fan's dead body as a host, which means Truck-kun must have sent him here. The immortal maniac doesn't even care about the injuries he has sustained. After all, he's set on avenging the murderers of Chen Fan. All the while he's mumbling to himself, Shuhei is questioning his reality and wonders who this guy is even yapping to. Chen Fan notes that this body is severely injured, and it's only thanks to his reincarnation that it's even moving right now. Sensing that it's about time to get the F out of here, the black snake prepares to get away. But too bad, because Chen Fan's sharp senses spot him instantly. Instead of fear or shock, Bro calls this guy a low-level beast and thinks nothing of the black snake. Meanwhile, Shuhei is out here shivering in fear, thinking this guy's gonna kill him or some shit. Chen Fan merely ignores the pointless little weakling of a snake and sits down to meditate. Gathering his spiritual energy, his first goal is to heal the wounds on his body. Emanating a tremendous amount of golden aura, the immortal Chen Fan calls forth the demon god Cauldron, which is the greatest treasure he possesses in his reincarnation. The divine dragon's sheer aura is enough to intimidate Shuhei, to the point that the creature thinks it's about to be killed. Snake Boy over here doesn't want to be killed and seems to misunderstand the situation. Bro's out here thinking he's gonna be grilled meat for this guy, and it's not like he can return the pigs either, now that they're resting in his belly. Chanting the declarations of heaven and earth, Chen Fan revels in his glory, stating that in this life, he will conquer the entire world. Bro is the average Isekai cultivation protagonist, except he's a side character in this story, and you're about to find out why. With a propulsive lunge, the enormous black snake rips open its mouth to devour and kill this guy before he gets a chance to attack. That single lunge just now destroys the entirety of the pigsty, all the while successfully devouring the so-called immortal. Shuhei swallows his body and realizes that he's made a lot of noise. This means an escape is necessary, so he rushes to flee the town. As for Chen Fan, Bro's pissed the heck off, chilling inside the snake's belly. Even as the low-level beast's guts are squishing him in, the immortal thinks that it must truly be dealing with the dumbest of all beasts for daring to challenge him. Chen Fan even gave the snake a chance to run away, and now he's gonna do its best to obliterate it from the inside. And so this man starts lasering down punches of doom, so strong that the black snake literally implodes from each hit, its stomach gushing in pain. Shuhei doesn't know what to do as he helplessly questions how Chen Fan is capable of blasting spells inside. The immortal tears apart the snake's flesh, pushing it aside and making his way, inflicting pain beyond what Shuhei has ever felt. In a last-ditch effort, the black snake attempts to use its demonic core, but that trump card is pointless as Chen Fan manages to locate it first. The immortal pities Shuhei's demonic core and sucks the life out of it, shattering its essence. This leads to an even more anguishing ride of pain for the snake. Its literal flesh is ripping apart at this point. Completely defeated, the snake spirals and starts rolling into the debris. By the end, it even endures a piercing wooden pike impaling its upper mouth. In his final moments, Shuhei reflects on the pain he's endured. Not a single fiber of his being can be moved anymore, and he refuses to accept a death like this. Despite having formed a demon core and having come this far, Shuhei ultimately weeps at its misuse of intelligence. Regretting coming to the poultry farm, he blames himself for everything. Well, while he's dying, Chen Fan is enjoying devouring our poor released snake's flesh from the inside to replenish his own energy. But suddenly, out of nowhere, the demon god Cauldron appears unprovoked. Despite his continuous chanting of collect to reclaim the cauldron, Chen Fan fails to control or retrieve its power. In fact, it grows closer and closer to the shattered demonic core of the snake, bursting into a blinding gleam of light. And then it happens. The golden dragon, the primordial demon god, appears again, having absorbed the essence of the snake's core. Ultimately confused, the immortal Chen Fan fails to comprehend why the demon god is helping the lowly beast, questioning if the snake is one of a kind. Before he can get any of his questions answered, the divine dragon charges a powerful vortex of spiritual energy and blasts Chen Fan with a column of it. The blast is so powerful that it spirals out of control and emerges from every crevice of the snake's ripped open body. Inside, the immortal and proud Chen Fan is being scorched to bits and pieces. His flesh is reduced to dust as the reincarnated being experiences true death. The aftermath is brutal for Shuhei. Snake Boy has been demolished and his body is like sushi right now with its many pieces. The pain is out of control and his demon core is no longer the way it was before. Weeping on the ground, the snake bids well to its lost demonic core, not knowing that it has absorbed the powers of the divine dragon. Chapter 2. A little while later, those vengeful little pigs decided to return the snake a favor for eating them. So they're busy munching on its hard skin by now, but despite their best, they're incapable of biting through its tough exterior. Shuhei reclaims consciousness at last and angrily swats them away, roaring at them not to bite his tail. He scares them off, saying he'll kill every last one of them, especially when his tail is looking cut up from different edges. But an even greater question bothers him. How on earth is he still alive? He's supposed to be dead 10 times over by now thanks to that immortal wannabe Isekai protagonist killing his demon core. The demon core serves as a foundation for beastly cultivation, which means there's just no way he could cultivate again. Mourning the loss of his core, Shuhei sheds tears until a realization crackles him down. If his core is truly shattered, then he should have been dead, but it seems like he isn't. And now let's get to his insides, literally. The demon god Cauldron is now serving as an anchor for his source of strength, the same one that Chen Fan proudly spoke of. Astonished and amazed, the unaware snake questions how it managed to replace his core. Things start to add up again, and Shuhei now understands that the cauldron saved his life. But that's not all. It seems that he's gained a special kind of X-ray vision capable of seeing through the exterior of not just his own body but also others. He can see the bone structure of pigs and even the roots of trees. It's a new skill added to his inventory that previously only cultivators possessed, so it's a great thing overall. What's even better is that his senses have been sharpened to a tremendous degree, to the point he can see everything with his eyes shut. The weak snake is finally gaining some real skills and thinks that it'll find an easier job evading humans now. If you thought that was something, let's welcome another surprise. Inside its tiny little brain is now an ever-expanding bloom of enlightenment. It's as if Shuhei has been blessed by the knowledge of Chen Fan's original cultivation path. Excited at his new powers, Shuhei coils up to heal up his injuries, hoping to imitate the immortal Chen Fan's meditation technique. Recalling what that guy did, he remembers the same exact chanting technique. With the meditation set in motion, Shuhei activates the cauldron's powers and actually manages to heal his injuries. Bro's looking glam and good as new, and all it took him were a few minutes of practice to replenish his spiritual chi. The main idea behind mediation techniques is usually to improve one's own cultivation, but the healing aspect of it is a side effect. Still, Snake Boy grieves the loss of its demonic core, which also means no more spiritual chi storage for him. He wonders if the cauldron can serve as a new storage device instead. The whole thing is incomprehensible to the serpent, leading Shuhei to ultimately decide on leaving this damn town to find a new place to rest. During that period of rest, he'll brainstorm new theories on why he got new powers. Theoretically, the serpent will only continue to grow stronger with time, which is why he wants to avoid any meaningless fights with the humans right away. The intelligent snake is about to leave before it realizes that the delicious pigs are just a few feet apart from him. Setting his sights on his breakfast, this guy devours them all. This leads to a scene transitioning to a beautiful reservoir. The black snake elegantly douses itself with water, bathing in delight. Ever since he became a noob, he's been blessed with new knowledge emerging from time to time. Chen Fan's cultivation powers intensify Shuhei's strengths over time. Thanks to his newfound knowledge of cultivation, the snake now has a solid understanding of the demonic cultivation system, just like the human cultivators have a system of their own. The beasts follow a specific set of stages called the spiritual stage, the establishment stage, the core formation, and even the nascent soul stage. Currently, this guy is sitting at the peak of his first spiritual stage, meaning he's a weak little snake right now. However, his strength compares to an average cultivator's chi refining stage, since demonic beasts have stronger stages in general. The snake longed to become as monstrously powerful as the beasts that were capable of splitting the heaven and earth with their might. He wanted to become a divine being just like that, and in order to prevent being hunted down by the frightening cultivator's sect, he needed to find a way to become stronger. And that's how Shuhei honed his cultivation prowess, entering a meditative state and chanting the same words as Chen Fan once did. He's actually been keeping at it for a few days, practicing the arts in a secret cave. After testing some of his skills, Shuhei learned that he could do way more than just heal his injuries via cultivation. It also cleansed his body of any impurities and also gave him the ability to shed quickly. One whole week has flown past, and the once weakling snake is now empowered in its epic glory. Some of his physical changes are as follows. Horns have experienced growth, scales have thickened, and its appearance has become more majestic. Or so this wannabe Arnold Schwarzenegger thinks. Because one thing has been pissing him off the most so far, his tiny little damn size. The gigantic snake has shrunk from its enormous size to now standing at a pitiful 6 centimeters. And I thought I was insecure about my height. This poor guy is having a field day over here. Right now, bro can only look tough next to a damn sparrow. Pissed off, he squashes the damn bird and eats it right away. Despite his reduced size, one thing is for certain. Shuhei's strength has experienced noticeable growth. But not just that, his flexibility has also increased, which means at his best, he can take down larger prey with ease now. Thanks to his confirmation of the cauldron merging with his demonic core, Shuhei can literally feel the chi accumulating and pumping at a crazy rate, verging at the edge of a breakthrough. But here's the downside to it. The whole process leads to an immense drainage of energy. Noodle Boy is having an existential crisis just thinking about his daily workout routine at this point. The reality is he needs to hunt larger prey to cultivate stronger and faster for a breakthrough. And that leads us to a confrontation with the wild boar in the field. The boar is unaware and enjoying its watermelon in delightful fashion. Unbeknownst to the beast, a little snake has set its sights on swallowing it whole. However, it's important to highlight that this is a severely risky encounter for Shuhei, as beasts can be dangerous to handle. Using his stealth, the sneaky snake grows overconfident in its cultivation abilities, thinking that he can easily defeat the less intelligent beast. Hilariously, the boar ends up snapping in Shuhei's direction after sensing his presence, causing Noodle Boy to hide. The adorable guy is coiled around, hidden in the grass field with a rock clenched in his jaw. With this secret little rock, he's gonna achieve the feast of its lifetime. Wriggling and crawling closer and closer, Shuhei remarks that the boar has yet to notice his presence. But right as he's about to commence his attack, the poor guy's face drops in utter fear. The wild boar has officially located his presence, and this guy is about to learn what it means to fudge around and find out now. The beast roars, furious at the black snake who dared to sneak up on him. As for our little creepy crawly, the little bro runs away with tears in his eyes. As he's marching for his escape, Shuhei runs into a dead end. At this rate, he's got no chance of running away safely, so he adopts his original strategy and grabs all of the nearby rocks in one final attempt to survive. Using his tail, he fires away the rocks, acting as projectiles in his favor to smash the boar's face. Yup, I bet you weren't expecting a rock-throwing snake in your recommendations today, but here we are. Here's the frighteningly shocking part. Shuhei had only been planning to injure the boar, but he chucked those rocks so damn hard that they literally smashed the boar's head, impaling parts of its body and killing it instantly. The whole thing leaves the little guy at a loss for words. It never even had the chance to have an actual battle with the boar. The anticlimactic ending is far too sudden and even intimidating for the adorable snake. Knowing that the boar is smart and might be pretending to play dead, the little guy throws even more rocks at its corpse, all of which are literally impaling the boar's flesh like literal bullets. With enough injury inflicted, Shuhei assures himself that there's not a single chance in this world that the boar is still alive. It was a close fight, but he managed to win in the end. He turns back to face the boar, wanting to ensure that a repeat of this situation never happens again. So what this psychopath does is he cuts up the boar limb by limb, making sure that it truly is dead for good. After killing the beast, Shuhei munches on its juicy limbs, eating with confidence and acting cute like he didn't just slaughter like a murder machine just now. Strangely, the snake finds the taste disgusting and vomits out odd liquid from its mouth. It's actually a blue orb, signifying the demonic core of the wild boar and confirming that he wasn't dealing with an ordinary beast just now. As you saw earlier, Shuhei was unable to devour the core even by accident, because demonic cores have tons of violent energy that can't be consumed in pure form. Brute forcing his way with the core could lead to his body exploding to a billion pieces. In order to prevent clouds with a chance of snake balls from happening, the little guy wonders how he can refine the core into a magic pill for easy absorption. The only problem is he doesn't have any ideas. Extracting an example from nature, Shuhei reflects how beasts usually devour the corpse and the core all at once. This means that the rumor of the demonic core exploding one's body must be a lie, or else all those beasts would have gone extinct already. The happy snake jolts up in a realization that his knowledge is limited because of the limitations of humans. Since he's a beast himself, normal rules don't apply to him, which means theoretically he could devour the core. With that thought in mind, Shuhei lifts open his titanic jaw, savoring the blue core. But the funny thing is, he can't seem to swallow the damn thing. It's too big for his tiny mouth. One way or another, Shuhei ends up devouring the core, but the moment it goes down in his belly, a wave of hotness overtakes him. You see, the cauldron inside of him is actually siphoning all of the energy of the blue core all on its own. Thanks to that, the chi is replenishing the snake's strength, and at long last, the little black snake experiences a true breakthrough. This evolved state is called Psychic Level 2, characterized by jutting spikes of gold on his tail. Expressing excitement and shock, Shuhei slices the nearby boulder with a swoop of his tail. Pleased with the results, he's overcome by joy at the hardness of his scales. While the same joy is met with a sudden jolt of fear because the moment he turns back around, he finds a human towering over him with a weapon armed in hand. Shivering in fear, Shuhei falters at the sight of the young boy. Chapter 3. Holding the stake up in his hand, the boy is ready to strike the black snake down. It's easily visible that he's intimidated and afraid of the snake, while our favorite wriggler is assessing his options, wondering what's going to happen, and if he's dealing with a cultivator of some kind. His fears start to take over him, and he sinks into the despair of facing an opponent just as powerful as the immortal Chen Fan. But right as the kid is about to strike the snake down, Shuhei bursts in anger, whipping his tail so hard that it demolishes the kid's weapon. Using this as an opening to flee, Shuhei crawls away to fend for his life, knowing that he can't risk more humans popping out of the blue and risking his life. As for the kid, he's literally shocked, even excited at his chances. The kid goes back home to report the whole situation to his father, excited to reveal that he's discovered the same enormous snake that killed not only their mother but also the pig beast from earlier. Let's cut to our little noodle boy again. Shuhei has escaped into the forest pathway and finally relieves himself after realizing that no one is chasing after him. At the same time, he senses that the situation hasn't wrapped up yet. A thought clings to his mind, making him wonder if he was truly dealing with a young boy. At this point, even the snake has realized just how dramatic he really is and how easy it is to scare him off. Shuhei rekindles his spirit, reminding himself that he's someone who aspires to become a godlike beast one day to split the heavens, so he can't be frightened by anything that moves at this point. Well, now that he's arrived at the mountain temple, Shuhei wonders if he should take the general advice of the people and worship the gods. Maybe that will guarantee a period of peace for him. Reaching the same shrine where he achieved his first enlightenment, the snake wonders if his travels will lead to another run with fortune. Arriving inside the temple, he discovers the statue of the mountain god, and in front of it there are a bunch of sacrificial meals offered by the worshippers. Witnessing free food just sitting there right in front of him is enough to make Noodle Boy's mouth salivate in delight. It makes him wonder who the hell even managed to offer such a tribute. Knowing that the mountain god can't devour the food, the little snake does a good job of eating it for him, hoping to worship the deity soon afterwards to show his true sincerity. After consuming the meals, Shuhei stands before the mountain god, praying for a blessing and hoping for success in his cultivation journey. He chants those words again and again until Shuhei hears the giggle of a girl coming from outside. The snake senses a bunch of people approaching using its tremendously sharp senses. Just when he thought things were about to get better for him, even more humans were going to appear out of nowhere. While the little girl dashes into the temple, prompting our trusty little snake to quickly hide. Things are looking rough because at this rate, he's the one who's trapped behind this damned dead end. Using its scanning vision, Shuhei analyzes his escape paths. With only one exit in sight, he thinks that there's no way he'll be able to escape without being noticed by the humans. For now, he observes the activities of the humans that ventured inside. The girl and her master are having a squabble. Clutching a blade around her hand, she threatens to end it all on herself so that this impudent master can't threaten her to do anything. The words Master Q ring a memory in Shuhei's brain. This guy is the one responsible for Chen Fan's damage too. The creepy guy grabs her delicate hand, expressing vile interest. Shuhei reflects that this guy likely killed Chen Fan to death, which means the snake can't risk exposing its presence in front of him. Master Chu grabs her face shut, toying with the girl's body. The whole scene is odd for the snake, who thinks that humans are way too lustful compared to animals who only have a set season for breeding. The disgusting master tosses her down as the girl flails helplessly against his strength. Shuhei is starting to find the whole thing unpleasant and impossible to watch, knowing that this is no way to treat someone in the wild. Master Q grabs the blade, hounding the girl for even thinking of committing suicide. Now he's fully hellbent on making good use of her before ending her life. From his conversation, the observing snake notices that this guy is dumb as hell, but he's also strong. As for the defenseless girl, all she can do is snap back at him, insulting him for daring to break her engagement off and even killing Chen Fan, her sworn partner. She haunts him with the words that even in her death, she will never let him rest. While this dramatic scene is taking place, Shuhei is casually eating an apple sitting on the mountain god's statue. He thinks the idea of killing someone is pointless if it's not meant for consuming food. Originally, Ro didn't want to intervene, but this idiot carelessly ended up applying pressure on the statue's hand too hard, causing it to shatter apart and crash down. The loud thud draws the attention of Master Q as well as the girl. Both of them instantly sense that there's someone here watching the scene, or it could be the intervention of the mountain god. Q threatens the spy to come out instead of hiding behind the statue, while the girl helplessly races ahead to seek shelter from the mountain god. Crashing in front of the statue, she begins to pray, begging her god to save her from this madness. Hilariously, however, the moment she looks up, all she can see is an enormous black snake. It was at this moment our little noodle boy knew he fudged up. Frightened for life, the lady tries to escape after spotting the spirit beast. Master Q is so lost in thought that he completely forgets that he's holding the knife. The panicking girl ends up running into the knife as it pierces her body. Enraged, the master shouts in panic. He had just killed a woman in the temple. Hearing his scream attracted his students. The king would ask him if he was already done. But Q called them idiots for not noticing a spirit beast in the temple. Armed with weapons, the three men look around for the beast that's doing its best to play hide and seek with them. Meanwhile, Shuhei is out here genuinely tweaking out, especially when one of them announces themselves as an outer disciple of the snake-catching sect. That very name spells his doom as Master Q sends his students to search around for the tiny beast. Idiot 1 and Idiot 2 get to work, scouting their way around the statue, and yet there's nothing to be found. At this rate, Shuhei knows he's about to get deep-fried after being killed if he gets found out. Instead of waiting around playing defense like he always does, little Newell Boy remembers that he's actually a powerful beast. So he lunges out in the open with a gaping mouth, terrifying his assailants. Just the frightening presence of the black snake is enough to paralyze Q's students. In fact, Master Q wants to use this opportunity to kill the snake as a means to enter the snake-catching sect properly. With that goal in sight, he charges an attack, ordering his students to delay and stall the beast until he's finished with his air-splitting palm. Shuhei dives down and observes the situation properly. Knowing that the master is the strongest one amongst them all, the black snake finalizes his plan to kill all of them before Q can unleash his attack. Establishing a surefire trajectory to his victory, the snake unleashes a mighty swing. To his own surprise, these guys are nothing but absolute dog shit. Q's students are reduced to a near-dead state, while he's left questioning just what kind of behemoth he's dealing with. With just a single attack, the black snake annihilated their bodies in the blink of an eye. Forgetting his palm strike attack, Q runs for his life like a scared little cat, surprising even Shuhei by his cowardly way out. Q is a dumbass on steroids because as he's leaving, he threatens the snake by revealing that he'll tell his master about the whole thing. Hearing this, Shuhei hammers down a powerful tail whip on his head, pulverizing this guy's face and literally crushing his brains. With him also dead, Shuhei finally reels in with a moment of silence and peace. Thank God this guy stopped gathering his chi instead of moving forward with the attack. Once again, the tiny murder machine has survived another day. Well, then all starts to add up why he got into trouble. It's because he stole from the mountain god statue, which makes him wonder if he's pissed off the deity. In order to make amends, the dedicated snake offers the corpses of the three men as a trade-off for what it stole. With these people offered as tributes, Shuhei prays with great glee, hoping that these tributes will soothe the mountain god's anger. Funnily enough, the tiny snake chalks up another perspective in his Delulu mind, thinking that this whole incident was the mountain god's reminder to him to cultivate even faster. Understanding his new goal, Shuhei is armed with fury. Well, he's technically not armed at all if you know what I mean. The black snake wrigbles away to return to his cultivation on the mountain. A week after the incident, we can see a concentrated flow of energy gathering in the same cave where Shuhei meditates frequently. The demonic god Cauldron is absorbing much of the spiritual chi after the black snake's consistent cultivation practice. However, despite his best attempts so far, he's yet to break through the second layer of the current cycle. Other than cultivation, Noodle Boy has been going around slaughtering beasts on the daily, except they're incapable of filling him up fully and barely help with the cultivation process too. At this point, Shuhei really wants to go look for another wild boar again. Here's the funny thing. Let's go out and explore how this apex predator actually hunts. Bro prepares a tiny bird trap like a human, hoping to catch a giant animal using his expert tactics like an idiot. Through this tactic, Shuhei is hoping to catch pigs and rabbits, but surprisingly he has yet to see any pigs lately. The despairing situation isn't looking good for his grumbling belly, as it's been some time since the snake had a large meal. Things are looking bad, forcing Shuhei to wonder if it would be okay for him to eat a watermelon at this point. Suddenly, he notices a bunch of humans traversing the path, talking about the abundance of fish thanks to this year's flood. Intrigued by this key detail, Shuhei follows their conversation and actually sees the young child from back then. But here's the thing, the kid also spots him back from way down there. Setting his sights on the snake, the kid races off to catch the mighty beast. Panicking, Shuhei dashes up to the tree hoping to hide from the annoying child. The kid stops by the tree and actually leaves a big pile of fish for the snake. Now this is something that genuinely confuses our boy, because why would anyone help an enormous snake that nearly killed you last time? Anyway, the boy lunges back after leaving the pile, hoping that the old black snake will enjoy eating the fish as its reward. Savoring the sight of a proper meal after days, Shuhei wriggles down. Drawing a closer look, he wonders if this is some kind of 1000 IQ manipulator strategy to feed him poison. A concerned Shuhei really doesn't want to test his chances, but seeing as though the fish were still alive and moving, he decides to take a personal look. Devouring one of them in its mouth, the snake is overwhelmed by its delicious taste. Enjoying the meal, the black snake dives in the basket, eating as much as it possibly can, completely zoned out by the experience. As for the kid, he's on his way back when suddenly he bumps into a tall, cloaked figure. This ninja-looking guy with insane drip is here to interrogate the young boy, inquiring about the whereabouts of the old black snake. Just one look at their uniform is enough to confirm that they're the members of the snake-catching sect who have arrived here to dispose of the black snake. Since the kid has gone mute all of a sudden, the man repeats his words. Struggling for a response, the boy denies seeing any snake around the place. The other one tells senior brother Ding that there's no point in interrogating a child. Suddenly, both of them hear the sound of crows scattering about as if they saw something. Knowing that something is hiding up there, they hurry to find the black snake, thinking that this may be their golden opportunity. Well, things aren't looking great because even the boy wants the snake to run away before they catch up to him. These Akatsuki Wanigs suddenly hear a warning shriek coming from the side. Apparently, the old black snake has devoured yet another victim near the river. Hearing this announcement, they hurry to the riverside instead of chasing the cliff. This leaves the boys shocked because the snake was clearly up top eating the river, so there's no way it could have gone all the way down to the river. Let's take a look at Shuhei. The tiny murder machine is crawling away as fast as he can after failing to eat some delicious bird eggs. He even got bullied by the birds for messing around and somehow ended up at the river. Too many things don't make sense to him and he fails to understand the logic of the humans. However, his current focus is to simply escape the snake catchers who are chasing after him. He even wishes to leave this place forever to avoid being hunted again. Observing the horizon, Shuhei ultimately decides that he should flee towards the mountains on the other side of the river, allowing him an easy escape for a few months. Diving into the water, he makes his way past. The grim reality is that winter is soon to approach him, but he doesn't even have any food supplies to nourish himself. At this point, he doesn't see a way on how he could possibly increase his cultivation powers. Surprisingly, Shuhei catches a glimpse of something far more sinister than even he is. A leviathan bursts out of the river with a terrifying bite. Luckily, the black snake managed to dodge the first bite, but this titanic beast's shocking appearance in the river is questionable to him. Descending deeper, the black snake wonders if he's dealing with an overgrown eel of some kind. Finally, he realizes what's going on. This is the creature that is responsible for eating humans on the riverside, only for Shuhei to get all the blame for its misfortunes. From the looks of things, it appears that the gargantuan monster is grievously injured, which means it probably faced a snake catcher during one of its encounters. The big question is, why did this overgrown, beastly bastard try to eat him just now? Shuhei shivers at the thought of ending up as the creature's food source. But that makes him wonder if he can switch their roles and if he can somehow use this damn eel as a food source to get through the winter. Still, Shuhei refuses to challenge it head-on, knowing that it's strong enough to face off against a snake catcher and escape. Surprised, the giant eel decides to chase after the tiny snake. The last thing you want to see is a house-sized jaw opening up to devour you whole, and that's exactly what our little new boy is witnessing live. Luckily, he evades the attack, causing the eel to get thrashed from its own momentum. Things aren't looking too good for Shuhei either as he's succumbing to constant exhaustion. An idea suddenly bursts in his mind. Instead of escaping, he goes for the offensive approach to penetrate the creature's barrier with one singular strike. Thanks to his lunge, the black snake manages to tear off a piece of flesh from the creature, though he deeply despises the texture of its flesh. To his utter shock, a vortex of flame starts engulfing him in the water. This kind of witchcraft doesn't even make sense to him. And then it clicks. That wasn't even an actual ring of fire, but a hallucination created by the eel after Shuhei devoured parts of its flesh. The gargantuan creature uses this chance as an opportunity to devour him whole. With no other way to run, Shuhei taps into his ancient knowledge of cultivation using Chen Fan's memories. Recalling the technique to dispel the illusion, the black snake centers itself to remain calm, gathering all of his energy into a singular point. Chanting the same divine declaration as he did, the black snake roars a powerful shriek, annihilating the fiery illusion created by the monstrous eel, obliterating the domain. His astonishing feat is shocking even to him, but right when the tiny murder machine is about to celebrate, the eel pops right up in his face, moments away from swallowing him whole. It really seems like there's no way out of this one. Even Shuhei knows it and comically coils up, bracing for impact. Coincidentally, the golden spikes of his tail end up forming contact with the eel's jaw. And here's the frightening part. Those spikes are easily capable of shredding the eel's gargantuan body in two, ripping off its flesh and killing it instantly. Even the black snake can't fathom what he just did or how he did it. Turning to his golden spikes, Shuhei succumbs to the realization that his tail is truly out of this world. In fact, it makes him wonder just how powerful these scales will become if he continues to evolve in the future. At the same time, Shuhei doesn't want to get in over his head, knowing that he narrowly escaped death this time and pretty much only managed to win because the eel was injured before. Right now, he needs to leave and fast, erring on the side of caution to hide in the mountains. In the following scene, Tiny Noodle Boy has piled up a bunch of savory meat for the winter for months to come. With this, he can cultivate safely without worrying about shortage of food. What's more is that he also obtained a red demon core, which will allow him to reach the third spiritual stage. As he's picking apart the eel's flesh, Shuhei is startled when he sees a badge of a snake catcher, confirming that this same behemoth actually killed a powerful cultivator on its own. Hilariously, the little snake offers a final prayer to its fallen comrade. After all, he did help eliminate a snake catcher from this world. Promising to continue the eel's wrath upon his enemies, the black snake chucks the orb in his mouth. Once again, it's far too big for him to swallow easily. Knowing that the snake catchers are actively hunting for him, Shuhei grabs his pile of eel meat and runs off to hide with the orb still hanging in his mouth. A while later, the two snake catchers from earlier arrive at the same spot, observing the jaw of the overgrown eel. The sight of this creature now confirms to them that the black snake wasn't responsible for killing someone near the river. However, it also confirms that the snake fought off this eel and managed to kill it. Wondering if they should chase it or not, the snake catchers fear running into a huge bear beast which could pose a challenge to them. The mountain iron bear is powerful, and even if they did their best to find the old black snake, chances are they'll run into the bears even sooner. At this moment, Ding's partner highlights a story of the black snake devouring an alchemist and his human pellet. Long story short, he wants to say that the effect of the pellet must have altered the black snake's body to some extent, and since Ding has been stuck at the third stage of refinement for quite a while, this can be his golden opportunity. An excited Ding likes the idea of secretly hunting the snake for themselves, but at the same time, doesn't recommend venturing the mountains all on their own, because at this rate, they'll suffer a casualty sooner or later. Ding's partner assures him that things will be fine for them in the few months to come, because the winter will cloud the mountains in snow, forcing the bears to hibernate during that time. Letting go of the hunt this time, they promise to make a huge profit upon their return during the winter season. Meanwhile, our little noodle boy has successfully found himself a warm place to enjoy for a few months to come, emphasizing the start of his cultivation cycle once more. And so 2 months flew by, the chilling cold overwhelmed the forest. All this time, the black snake has been trying his best to break through and reach the third stage, but so far his efforts have been in vain. It's much more difficult than he thought, and despite having refined the demonic core from his previous harvest, he still hasn't achieved a complete breakthrough. Despite his unsuccessful attempts, there is some good news. 3 more golden scales popped on his tail, which is a sign of growth. The spiritual mist of the cauldron is actually full to the brim, which means Shuhei is touching the peak of the second stage right now. All he needs is just a final push to tear his way to the third stage. Emerging out of his cave, he goes to find his last few remnants of the eel's flesh. The problem with the winter is that it has stiffened Shuhei's body to a considerable amount. To make things worse, he doesn't even have any food supplies to go off of. The best he can hope to achieve is to hibernate and wait out his days until spring arrives. Then he can escape the mountains and locate some nice food, even allowing himself the chance to cultivate again. Or so he thinks, because his enemies, the snake catchers, have already set foot on the land. They're actively patrolling the area looking for the black snake. Ding is willing to pay people to look for the snake and reminds them to be careful in their investigation. The people are glad to be of help as they belong to the snake village. The only thing they're best at is finding snakes. They've even brought 2 hunting dogs for the job who are expertly trained to search for the snake's scent. The 2 snake catchers let the villagers locate the snake's lair. At the same time, the villagers don't like the condescending attitude of the snake catchers for looking down on him like this. One of them argues that it's the snake catchers giving them a favor. This guy is dreaming of the days he'll allow his child the chance to study. Well, that mellow moment comes to a close when the hunting dogs bark around, having located a scent right away. Shocked, all of them gather around to locate the old snake's lair. The snake catcher pushes them aside to investigate on his own. The worst part is the tiny murder machine is actually resting inside, fearing for his life. Right now, he's at his absolute weakest with a body so pathetic that he can't even run away or fight them back. Having located the trails of the snake, the villagers politely ask for their reward. However, when the snake catcher inspects the trails, he discovers that it's actually the feces of a bear instead. It's shocking news to the villagers because their dogs are experts in finding snakes and have been trained for that purpose. Pointing to a gigantic cave nearby, the snake catcher orders the villagers to head inside and investigate. While Shuhei is just happy that he managed to fool them again. You see, having gained intelligence, he has become crafty and knows how to build traps. So what he did was block the cave with stones and even covered it with branches filled with bear feces. After that, he dug a huge hole down the bottom, ensuring his safety. While his plan worked out in his favor, the villagers and the snake catchers are restless in their investigation and haven't given up yet. Ding's partner informs him that they're still dealing with a snake hole over here, even if it's covered with bear feces. Ding confirms that they actually don't need to look beyond the snake hole in the first place. The only reason he sent the villagers off to the cave is to get rid of most of them. The villagers drawing near the cave's entrance have no idea of the danger they're playing with. Even they're skeptical of the whole thing because the old black snake couldn't have possibly dug up such a large entrance. To make sure the villagers face their demise, Ding's partner decides to personally step down to provoke the monster out of the cave. He slides all the way down to meet them. Meanwhile, the cunning snake is observing the whole ordeal. Even Shuhei thinks it's utterly ruthless to betray your own companions and dubs the humans as heartless monsters. While he's catching sympathy for the villagers, he suddenly realizes that he's the one in real danger here. The snake catcher Ding is hovering just above the hole, which means he's not going to leave until he finds Shuhei. The good thing is that they're currently searching for the Iron Bear, which could actually end up in the tiny murder machine's favor. Using their strategy, he could potentially squeeze the life out of the bear, consume it, and break through the third stage. After achieving its powerful evolution, the snake will have enough strength to defeat both of the snake catchers. However, his plan is only sensible in his imagination, because right now he's not even in a state to kill the powerful bear, which might prove to be way stronger than he is right now. Then there's the fact that devouring a large bear in front of their eyes is going to be an impossible task. But here's the thing, this Ding guy is some sick psycho. He actually sent his junior brother down there to die, just so that he could kill both of the beasts himself and achieve his evolution. Knowing that there might be a potential fight breaking out between the two snake catchers, Shuhei awaits his chances, slowly coming out of his hideout and sliding towards the entrance. Ding's partner returns to him and explains that he successfully led the villagers inside. And while their horrific screams can be heard as the enormously large bear slams its way out of the cave, the villagers are frightened for their lives, rushing to find safety, questioning if they were misled by the snake catchers. Hurrying ahead, they inform the snake catchers and beg them to just save them this time. However, Ding calls them a heap of trash that isn't worth his time and tells the villagers to deal with their own mess by dying here. Betrayed by the snake catchers, the villagers hound them for their elaborate setup. Refusing to die, one of the elders of the snake villager prepares his arrow and successfully shoots off the satchel on one of the snake catcher's sides. Pellets of medicine pour out of it, digging their way into the snow. They're just the thing our precious little crawler needed to replenish his energy. While they're busy bashing each other with words, Shuhei enjoys the medicine. Ding's partner asks for his help to collect the medicine, but Ding himself doesn't really give a damn and awaits his demise. Thanks to Ding's savage strategy, they successfully eliminated all members of the snake village. The Iron Bear gobbles their flesh like they never even existed. The arrogant Ding thinks that these fools died an honorable death serving their purpose. But suddenly, a plot twist welcomes us. All this time, Ding was planning to get rid of his junior, when in reality, his partner had been scheming the same thing for his senior. He pushes Ding with a powerful gust of wind, launching him straight down towards the bear's mouth. As Ding is helplessly falling down, he collapses before the towering bear's wrathful domain. Questioning his partner's betrayal, Ding roars at him. But the junior finds the situation amusing, and even mentions that he's been plotting this trap for a very long time just to get rid of him. After all, Ding wanted to face the bear all by himself, and now he's got a personal one-on-one appointment with it. This guy is even more sinister than Ding because he's not doing it for some personal gain or cultivation accomplishment or anything. This man simply cares about murdering Ding in cold blood. Laughing at his demise, Ding's partner observes the scene in amusement as the bear is moments away from obliterating the snake catcher. In a last-ditch effort to take down the beast along with him, the snake catcher detonates an explosive talisman armed on his body. The explosion wraps the bear and annihilates the snowfield, allowing the junior to marvel at the spectacle his senior has created for him. Even being faced with his death, Ding went out in a blaze of glory and severely damaged the bear, though his own body endured a brutal end as well. With this, the snake catcher intends to return to the sect to report the current situation. No longer does he want to involve himself with the Iron Bear, knowing that the beast is enraged and out of his league. The situation ultimately resulted in an ideal success for Shuhei. Not only did one of them die, but also the bear is supremely wounded now. The legendary plot twist of all plot twists has served the perfect path for him to come out at last, revealing his domineering presence. That badass entry is halted when the snake realizes that there are 2 more pills just resting outside the entrance of the cave. He wonders if he could absorb all of them at the same time. But for now, he decides to hide them behind his teeth, hoping to replenish his energy at a critical moment when it really counts. Suddenly, a pack of bloodthirsty wolves arrives out of nowhere, largely thanks to the bloodbath caused by the bear. Shuhei doesn't fear them, and actually welcomes the chance to feast on the animal's flesh. Enjoying this moment, he bursts with incredible speed, knocking one of the wolves in its jaw as a starter. Shuhei severs its head clean in front of its friends, reminding them that they're next. The black snake's digestion is supremely amped up thanks to the cauldron's powers, so he's not going to stop at just one wolf. On and on he goes to take on the entire pack all by himself. Shuhei literally tears apart their limbs, but for some reason his hunger can't be contained. Despite devouring numerous wolves, he still wants more. As for the pack, the scared little wolves quiver and try to run away, but Lady Luck must really hate them, because they end up in front of the enraged bear. Shuhei wonders if the sight of the deliciously large bear is somehow making the wolves look unsatisfactory in comparison. Pissed off, the humongous bear demolishes the wolves' body, squashing them in an instant. Even after sustaining grievous injuries, the bear seems to be doing just fine, and from the encounter he saw between Ding the snake catcher earlier, Shuhei assesses this beast's skill around the 3rd stage level. Meanwhile, our tiny murder machine is sitting at the peak of the 2nd stage. Basically, there's a huge gap between them, but this little bloodthirsty crawler isn't done devouring food. His hunger clouds his judgment, and his endless thirst for food compels him to hunt more. The cauldron influences his body to target the bear beast next. Assessing the situation, Shuhei understands that though the beast has a greater cultivation ability than his own, it is wounded, so there's a chance for victory. After all, if he keeps on running away from stronger beasts, he'll never experience true growth. After witnessing the wolves get squashed like bugs, Shuhei suspects that the bear must be running low on fuel. Compared to its enormous size, he's a tiny little worm. The snake understands that he must act careful with his every move. With that thought in mind, he explodes at a tremendous speed, hoping to bite the bear's face off. Unfortunately, the monstrous bear is able to catch its body with its claw, preventing Shuhei from dealing a powerful first blow. Luckily, however, the intelligent snake uses its lightning-fast tail and slices off the bear's eyes, permanently blinding its vision. Panicking in fear and pain, the bear clutches its eyes, allowing Shuhei to run the heck away. The snake no longer wants to challenge the beast, especially when it is much stronger than the eel he fought in the river. While the good thing is that he's blinded the bear, so another attack could really defeat it. The effects of the earlier pills end up wearing off, so Shuhei uses his reserve pills from his teeth to gain back some of his strength. Powered up with propulsive force again, he shoots with a rocketing speed and connects a successful bite on the bear's neck, causing a crushing amount of pain. This psychopathic snake no longer cares about healing its wounds. Its only mission is to kill or be killed in the process. However, despite being blinded and wounded, the bear is not yet finished. Its tightening grip is genuinely starting to deal a number of damage on the snake's body, and at this point, Shuhei is confident he must have broken a bone or two in his body. However, if he lets go here and now, his progress will have been for nothing. Determined with the eyes of a true predator, Shuhei hammers down on tightening his grip, ensuring that his bite severs the creature's head off. The consistent pain causes the large beast to scream in agony, but the snake is still unwilling to let go, considering it his one final move. In the end, Shuhei is launched on the heavy snow, tossed all the way down. Thanks to his earlier maneuver, the tiny murder machine managed to bite off the bear's throat and even dismantle it on the ground. Next up, he's going to deal the killing blow from a distance. Knowing that a rock will be pointless here, he grabs a chunky log and smashes it on top of the bear's head, oozing out blood from its smashed face. The fight is over and the battle has been won by the tiny snake at last. Shuhei is still uncertain of its death, but first he wants to heal his injuries to properly inspect his kill. Unfortunately, before he can do that, the sneaky wolves decide to show up right after the defeat of the bear, hoping to scavenge the loot from him. Shuhei is pissed off and shouts at the wolves, but of course he's too injured to fight properly and fend them off. Back into a corner, the black snake devours the final pill, plotting to kill every last one of them. The bloodbath continues for another 2 hours until a pile of bodies rests on the ground. This man has become the John Wick of the wild, having hunted down all the assassins that came after him. Shuhei catches a breath, but ultimately knows that the effects of the rejuvenative pill will soon wear off. Considering that he's already injured, the black snake hurries to find a safe spot to relocate and cultivate its body. After all, if he's sloppy here, he'll leave enough clues for the snake catchers to find him again. So, using his intelligence, he grabs the bear's corpse and drags it along while passing by the corpses of the villagers. In a way, Shuhei pities the frail humans to die such a merciless death in the cold. While he's making his way, he suddenly finds the same man from earlier, the one who was talking about earning money for his son's education. To Shuhei's surprise, the hunting dogs are still resting by his corpse, even after his death. Unaware why these animals display so much loyalty for the human, he inspects their bodies, only to discover that the dogs have actually already frozen to death. It's a tragic sight, and a sign of true loyalty, that the dogs refuse to abandon their master even after their death. The whole thing fills up Shuhei's heart with gut-wrenching emotion. After all, at the end of the battle, the only one who remained was the most cunning of them all. Anyway, he somehow makes his way to a new cave. The good thing about this hideout is that there's a pool right in front of the cave, meaning snake catchers will have a really hard time finding him here. Swallowing the bear's flesh, the snake frustratingly enjoys its meal. The delicious taste is one other reason the cauldron was going crazy for the hunt. At long last, the absorption process kicks right into motion, funneling the spiritual energy inside and kickstarting another evolution. More golden spikes appear on the snake's tail as Shuhei weeps for his agonizing evolutionary accomplishment. He has finally entered the third spiritual stage. Noodle Boy cuddles with his pretty golden scales and thinks that his adventurous battle was worth it in the end. In fact, this guy is already fantasizing that he'll be an unstoppable force of nature by spring, cementing his position as the Mountain King. 3 months have now passed. Spring is here and no longer is the forest haunted by the cold. Shuhei has been enjoying his sleep and has since grown 8 centimeters and 11 total golden scales. With 3 months past, his body has not only increased in size but also become sharper in perception. He can instantly spot 2 large boars nearby from just his cave alone, so his new goal is to hunt them both down and replenish his energy. He does exactly that by annihilating one of the boars, leaving the other one quivering in fear. Turns out that this one is a female and it's actually pregnant. Bearing some level of human conscience and morality, the black snake ultimately decides not to eat her, knowing that it's necessary to preserve the natural balance. So he simply drags the boar's body out of the place, confusing the female boar as he leads her without harm. The way things are looking right now, the snake intends to find a sufficient food supply since he can't hurry back to the village anymore. And that means if he's excessive and kills every single prey in sight, there will be nothing left for him to eat. Shuhei wants the animals to reproduce and the younger ones to stay alive. Having scanned a good view of the mountain, Shuhei concludes by discovering 20 roe deers, 30 musk deers, and hundreds of rabbits all over. This means as long as he's careful about his eating habits, things will go just as planned and he'll forever be self-sufficient. At the same time, these resources just won't cut it for his plans of cultivation. The black snake narrowly escaped death in his previous battle too, which means he requires more opportunities and even greater challenges to become stronger. With that thought, Shuhei declares that he shall head home. And by home, he means the majestic Thousand Snake Valley. This valley is swimming with enormous and tiny snakes all around, elegantly enjoying the spring with the blossoming season. Having entered the valley, Shuhei is tempted by these these snakes. The white snake can't stop herself from tempting him. But this man isn't a simp anymore and bids her farewell in all his glory. The tiny murder machine analyzes his growth, knowing that if he was just as ignorant and simple as his kind a year ago, then he would have followed the same path as them. However, now that he's set on a greater path, the little things no longer interest him in his way of cultivation. Instead, the determined little fellow has come here for the sake of training. His ultimate objective is the divine snake fruit, a sacred object that achieves true maturation every 3 years. Thanks to this spring, the fruit is going to reach maturity once more. Shuhei intends to obtain it and improve his cultivation powers, thinking that it will boost him incredibly well. Here's an interesting backstory. The very reason he reached enlightenment and knowledge is because he ate the fruit 3 years ago too. If he can manage to eat it again, he might be able to break through the 4th stage without any hassle. After reaching that stage, Shuhei will gain even greater abilities like magic spells instead of relying on basic-ass physical attacks. His contemplation is interrupted when 2 intruders walk their way into the Snake Valley to find the sacred fruit. Strangely, the voice is familiar to him, making him wonder who it is. It's revealed at last that it's actually Ding's partner, the same guy who betrayed him in the end. Apparently, he's brought a top-tier Instagram baddie alongside him. The snake catcher grieves the loss of his senior brother and hopes to do a good job by impressing his senior sister with the sacred fruit. The lady has come here searching for at least 2 of them. Knowing that there's danger up ahead, she applies something called the Relger on him, assuring him that there's nothing to worry because she brought a powerful magic weapon this time. The only threatening beast they need to worry about in this valley is the old Snake King. If it comes out to attack them, all they have to do is whip out their trusty gallbladder medicine and throw piss at it. Hearing their conversation gets Shuhei irritated like hell. He wanted a smooth run without any interruptions, and once again the snake catchers have arrived to ruin his day with a powerful magic weapon too. Unfortunately, if he tries to escape now, he'll lose his chance of obtaining the snake fruit. Reflecting on his experiences dealing with 2 enormously powerful creatures in the wild, Shuhei wonders if he can defeat both of these snake catchers with his might. For the first time, he's actually confident, only for that confidence to be robbed of him as a powerful gust overwhelms the surroundings with its scent. Knowing that danger is approaching, Shuhei hides inside the pond to avoid the scent, hoping for another plot twist to occur and cause the snake catchers to argue again. While the same scent ends up killing a lot of the snakes in the valley, the snake catchers are using this as a mechanism to bait the old Snake King out. And if he doesn't show up, then they'll just grab the fruit and run with it anyway. It's plausible that the Snake King has already died, as 10 years have passed since its existence. Eavesdropping on the humans' conversation, the determined snake assures them that they're the ones who are going to die instead. Trusting his physical capabilities, Shuhei is certain that he can beat the arrogance out of the lady. Wondering about his moniker as the old black snake to begin with, Shuhei finds himself confused. At the same time, he's currently focused on watching the snake catchers approach the beautiful fruit. Sensing the arrival of a threat, she alerts Ding's partner to stop as someone is close by. This puts our murder machine at a high risk, making him question if he's been found already. But Lady Luck is at it again, as suddenly the ceiling bursts open and the glorious black snake appears to attack them. The senior lady evades its attack, and it turns out that Shuhei is completely baffled by what he sees. All this time, he's been called the Old Black Snake, when in reality the name is actually supposed to belong to the Snake King. Now it makes sense why he has such a terrible reputation among the snake catcher sect. The old Snake King shrieks at the humans for entering its territory, while the confident lady utilizes her hand sign to manifest a swamp spell, shielding her from the attack. A real fight has begun. Meanwhile, our tiny murder machine is still hiding. He's actually impressed by the sheer might of the snake catcher as well as the old Snake King. The lady uses a secondary spell, Spiritual Bell, while taken to the skies. Thanks to this magical weapon, she hammers the old Snake King with a deafening sound. The same sound is so annoying that even Shuhei can't bear its presence. Next up, the expert hunter unleashes a barrage of darts, but none of them seem to have any effects on the gigantic Snake King. Thanks to its tough exterior, no attacks seem to get past its body. This means the snake catchers have to come up with a different strategy. Even Ding's former partner offers to help, knowing that the beast is far too powerful for the likes of one person to handle alone. She tells Zhao to activate the Windblade Talisman, prompting him to use the spell and target the snake's body from the side. Together, their collective spells are starting to overwhelm the Snake King. Observing the fight unfold, Shuhei finds himself utterly terrified at the sight of the lady in red. She's out here actually giving the Snake King a difficult fight. Right now, Shuhei doesn't know what he should do, whether he should devour the snake fruit or help the Snake King. There's one big problem: the fruit has matured yet, so that leaves him with the second choice. Clutching a stone with its tail, Shuhei chooses to fight, knowing that he can help out the Snake King in his own way. Now's the chance to strike, but suddenly Shuhei senses some kind of movement around the fruit tree and wonders if there's another person. He's right, there's actually this random village bumpkin who is out to scavenge the fruit while the rest of the snake catchers are busy fighting the old king. This is bad news because this guy could genuinely threaten the fruit's maturation. Pissed off, Shuhei comes flying towards him with a raffle opener, enraged at the man's audacity to harm the tree. Panicking in fear, the man grapples with the tree and shivers in fear, but it's already too late as the black snake swallows him whole, alongside the tree roots themselves. In his attempt to slaughter the human, he ended up swallowing too much of the tree. The gigantic tree causes him a truckload of pain, sinking in a feeling of disgust and bloating inside his belly. Unable to devour it, Shuhei has no choice but to spit it out for his own safety. Chanting the declaration of the cauldron, the snake seeks help from his core. But to his shock, the cauldron is sealed shut, which means he's fine and didn't get poisoned by the tree. The leaves are the real problem, as they could be lethal for consumption. Shuhei wonders if his sudden need to vomit was produced by the same leaves. But his past experience reflects otherwise, as he managed to eat the herb collector without any trouble, while the cauldron had to refine the leaves of this tree. Confused, he stops thinking about the uprooted tree. Right now, Shuhei urges to escape, preventing the snake fruits from falling into the wrong hands. Let's go back to the tragic conclusion between the battle of the Old King and the snake collectors. Unfortunately, the Black Snake was no match for Lady Song and Junior Jean. Both of them feel like it was an easy battle, and all they have to do now is collect the fruit and reap the benefits. However, to their utter shock, the entire tree is gone. Senior Song is frustrated and wonders who is responsible for this. However, Jean thinks that the lady has betrayed him and actually had a secret accomplice all along. He accuses her of treason while Song tries her best to feign ignorance and defend herself, clarifying that she didn't do anything at all. Their argument continues as Jean blames her for having a secret companion, while Song argues that she doesn't have one at all. This is the perfect moment for Shuhei, allowing him just the time to exit out of the location. Feeling betrayed by Song, Jean takes matters into his own hands and equips the teleportation jade token. He's intent on complaining to their master to reveal the real culprit. But the moment he's about to use the token, another senior brother arrives to stop him. Turns out that this guy was sent in secret to observe them. He's disappointed that the duo started fighting each other instead of focusing on the mission. Jan wonders if it was the older brother who obtained the tree in hiding. However, the man admits that it wasn't even him but someone else. Whoever it was, they're a cunning person for sending a normal person to uproot the tree. But thanks to this guy's expert tracking ability, he can easily locate the tree's location. Planting his hand on the ground, the snake catcher exposes himself to footprints nearby. Astonished, he discovers that all existing footprints have been vanquished, putting them in greater mystery. The search for the secret thief continues as the snake catcher widens his skill range. Oh, and by the way, this guy is literally at the 6th chi refining stage, which means Shuhei isn't getting past him at all. The tiny snake is fidgeting in worry and wonders if he should shut off his consciousness and pretend to act like the rest of the dead snakes. At the same time, Shuhei is drawn to the magical essence of the tree culminating from its fruit. At long last, the fruit has reached true maturation. Sensing its signal, the senior brother reports that he's discovered the scent of the ripe snake fruit in the underground area. Armed with that information, the snake catcher digs underground using his earth in motion technique, which is basically like swimming in dirt and mud. As he's clawing his way down, Shuhei senses that he's dealing with a really powerful cultivator and a magician. His only chance of survival is to devour the fruit and escape, which he does right away by swallowing the fruit's essence piece by piece. Shuhei chants the declaration for his cauldron and begs it to absorb and refine his cultivation faster and faster. The snake catcher tears his way down, even impressed by the thief's expert escaping techniques. Though he doesn't have a good grasp of his opponent's cultivation ability, one thing is for certain: he doesn't really give a damn. The snake catcher is hellbent on using his magical weapon to defeat whoever stands in his way. If his opponent is below the ranks of a foundation establishment stage, they'll be in grave trouble. Clawing his way into the ground again, the cultivator blitzes to catch the culprit. With every step, he's drawing closer and closer to Shuhei, who is virtually begging the god Cauldron to speed the heck up and finish the cultivation already. To his shock, the Cauldron actually listens to his command and sucks in the energy with even more intent. The golden energy begins to spiral across the snake's body, ripping off its flesh, growing its fangs, and strengthening every part of its muscles. From its flesh, a whole new snake body is about to emerge from the old skin. That leads us to the snake cultivator arriving right at the scene, surprised to witness the birth of the black snake's new form. Shuhei welcomes the 4th spiritual stage, while the cultivator finds himself utterly shocked. All this time, he had been hunting down a thief or a cultivator, not knowing that the true culprit responsible for stealing the tree was a snake. Shuhei devours the tree while the snake catcher questions its purpose. He can't fathom how a beast of this caliber is capable of boasting such a level of high intelligence. The tiny murder machine sprints away to escape, while the cultivator emphasizes on capturing him alive in order to study its powers back at their sect. Shuhei, on the other hand, reflects on his ever-growing golden scales on his tail. Aside from that, he's also become much stronger overall, meaning there's nothing stopping him now. Leaping from his spot, the snake catcher attempts to stop Shuhei and surprises him with his magical weapon. His senior brother unleashes a top-grade spiritual treasure which acts like a mystical vine, making its way to the black snake with an absurd amount of pressure. Shuhei senses it and realizes that he's dealing with a whip-like weapon. Quickly, he responds with a powerful tail whip, knowing that being caught alive is basically guaranteed death for him. Using his one chance to escape, he scatters the whip aside, holding his own against the cultivator. Even after evolving to the 4th stage, Shuhei is incapable of breaking the whip. Overjoyed by the event, the snake catcher revels in the excitement of catching a middle-grade spiritual beast. He thinks the black snake is no match for the might of his mystical weapon, and soon this battle will be over. Shuhei, on the other hand, possesses knowledge of the magical weapons and how they require the caster's consciousness, so he intends to use his own powers to neutralize the cultivator's consciousness, preventing the weapon from harming him. Thanks to his overflowing surge of energy, Shuhei is unable to push the golden whip back. The snake catcher reflects that it's a foolish approach to overwhelm the spiritual treasure. His consciousness won't be overwhelmed until an opponent with the foundational stage strikes him. But while he's basking in all of his glory, Shuhei pops an opening and devours the golden whip with his mouth, hoping to imprison the physical form of the weapon. The special treasure pulses inside his body, causing him surging pain from the inside. But thanks to his endurance, things are looking good. The snake is hoping for the cultivator to simply give up control over his weapon at this point. This successfully ends up happening as Shuhei literally swallows the special treasure whole, robbing the cultivator of his prized possession. Thanks to that, he can safely run away now. The cultivator tries to chase him, but his efforts are ultimately useless as even after 30 minutes, he's incapable of locating the black snake. So far, Shuhei has been excellently exhausting him by luring him to different passageways in the cave, making it difficult for the cultivator to catch up. At this rate, the warrior has already consumed a ton of his energy just wasting around. As for Shuhei, he's sprinting incredibly fast with the weapon still in his body. Noodle Boy knows that this guy is about to become his meal the moment he reaches total exhaustion. He has to make sure that he can successfully lead an offensive strike to end this guy's life. The best way for him to achieve that is to fight the human head-on in a close combat-style duel. Even during their earlier battle, Shuhei observed the weakness of the cultivator, who stood a dozen meters away just to maintain his distance. With the terrain getting narrower, Shuhei believes this is the perfect opportunity for him to paralyze the cultivator with a surprise tactic and catch him off guard somehow. Meanwhile, the warrior chasing after him thinks that he might finally stand a chance because the snake is slowing down. He's already plotting schemes to rip open the snake's belly just to retrieve his prized weapon. Not just that, somehow this imbecile also thinks he'll bring the snake back to the sect alive after doing that. Chanting the use of the heavenly wind blade, the cultivator targets the snake, creating the exact opening Shuhei was waiting for. Using this moment, Shuhei becomes Sonic the Hedgehog and spirals into a wheel, blitzing forth with incredible speed and deflecting all instances of the heavenly blade. It's thanks to his hardened skin that he's immune to the same attack that would normally disintegrate middle-grade beasts. Knowing that he's backed into a corner, the cultivator seeks help from his snake-cutting sword, hoping to strike the beast down in close quarters. Supercharging his spiritual energy, he covets himself with blue aura. This time, the cultivator is hellbent on slaughtering the snake, no longer leaving any room for its capture. Using the powerful snake killer sword, he unleashes its wrath, prompting Shuhei to clash against the weapon with the golden scales of his tail. The battle between the two is legendary, and the arrogant cultivator is shocked that Shuhei's monstrous scales are capable of resisting the sword's slash. Achieving its ultimate objective, the snake coils around the cultivator's leg, roaring that the human is unqualified to destroy its golden scales. The battle ends with the cultivator slammed down. His snake sword has also been destroyed. The only reason the human even survived is because he poured everything in his final defense. From one look at the beastly black snake, the cultivator is struck by disbelief. There's no way this is an ordinary creature, and at this point he's even ready to assume that the creature is a dragon youngling. Fearing its wrath, the cultivator hastens to run, knowing that he's got no chance of defeating the monster. His best shot is to escape underground, but his spiritual energy is so weak that he can't cast another technique. Luckily, the man locates a hole just on top of him, and with his final remnants of wind energy, he bursts up to the skies to report the situation to his sect. Meanwhile, Shuhei is startled by his sudden takeoff. Here's the fun bit. Despite trying to escape upwards, he forgot about the snake's skin that was shedded just earlier by the black snake. The cultivator finds himself trapped, unable to free himself. Not just that, the snake has already caught up to him. Before he can even follow up with a second thought, boom, Shuhei takes off his arm clean. All this time, this cunning snake had planned this strategy. In the end, Senior Song and Junior Jan can only hear the terrifying screams of their companion. They can't fathom how their senior brother could ever get injured. Well, using the detonation talisman that every snake catcher is armed with, the senior brother somehow escapes the snakeskin of the loud explosion. Panicking, he returns to his companions, informing them of the dragon youngling hidden in the cave. Senior Song is incapable of comprehending his words, as that would imply that the creature possesses a nascent soul. Jan, on the other hand, grabs Professor Yapology and reminds her of their senior brother's pathetic state. He wants her to run because the threat is far too powerful for them. While they're busy being frightened, our tiny murder machine makes his way out of the cave. He's agitated because that last-ditch talisman ruined his plans. If these people manage to escape, the entire sect will come after him. As for the senior brother, he commands his companions to head out of the valley to maintain safe distance from the monster. His only order is for them to return to the sect as fast as possible so they can report the situation to their leader. This guy has truly become an eyesore in Shuhei's sight. But right as he's about to run off, the deceased Snake King somehow ejects a poisonous stream from its head. Yes, even after their heads are severed, snakes are capable of ejecting venom. This is bad news for the careless cultivator who is rolling on the ground in pain. Thankfully, he had a detoxification pill to save his life, but what good will that do because Shuhei is bursting with incredible speed to chase him down. Knowing that he's completely outclassed and has nowhere to run anymore, the cultivator invokes his top-grade spiritual grade item. Thanks to its surge of energy, he takes off like the Flash. But little did he forget, our tiny murder machine has even more tricks up his sleeve. Shuhei deliberately plucks out one of his golden scales and throws it like a missile headed the human's way. Despite the cultivator's speed, he can't outrun the power of the plot and gets pierced to death, ending his life.
Guys, that's the end of the video. If you liked this video, please leave a comment in the comment section. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Like the video and share it too. Thank you for watching and see you next time again.